Hello everyone, nice to meet you. My name is TIANYANG, metric number 268714, and my current semester is number 5. My program is BBA, Business Management.
Hai, Assalamualaikum. My name is ASYRANI HANIS, BINTI BAKAR. My metric number 275338.
Hi, my name is AMANINA binti SUHAIMI. My metric number is 275506. I'm currently in semester 5, taking Bachelor of Science Economy with honors.
My name is YASMIN binti ZAIDI. My metric number is 275669.
Good day, doctors and my fellow classmates. My name is Yakeshi with metric number 279473, and I'm currently in my semester 4, taking the course of BBA, Logistics and Transportation. Together, 5 of us are the member of Group 4. Today, we are presenting you our individual moral judgment based on the topic given. Enjoy! Our topic given is government or market forces of supply and demand should determine workers' salaries, including graduate salary and minimum wage in Malaysia.
For my study of this article, I do not support that workers' wages are subject to too much interference by the government minimum wage policy. I think workers' wages are mainly determined by labor demand and workers' living costs. We can neither regulate the supply of labor nor the demand for it. And since wages are determined by the supply and the demand of labor, it is unnecessary to use orders or laws to regulate wages and benefits. The minimum wage account is most typical statutory benefit in the world. Workers underpaid just make him taller. People tend to think so, but everyone did not expect that the most direct consequence of this regulation is that basic salaried workers will receive no salary from now on. Low-wage job seekers can no longer find jobs. From the perspective of computation, the range salary in a content industry is 100 ringgit a day, and I have a weak competitive advantage, so I can ask for 18 ringgit a day. The minimum wage law directly deprives me from my competitive advantage, resulting in no salary for the disadvantaged. This is no work to do. In fact, basic wage workers did not want to ask for sky-high price, which would hurt them. We also know that many people correct minimum wage laws out of good intentions, and that's because they don't realize how bad it is. But some have ulterior motives because forcing high wages can have very subtle consequences. For example, wages are higher in the north and lower in the south, but units in the north are calling for the high wages in the south. Why? Once the legal minimum wage is reset, cost will increase and competitiveness will be weakened. Think about what would happen to investors if labor cost in developing countries rose. Investors will withdraw and look for countries with low labor costs to invest in, which will undoubtedly be a heavy blow to those countries that can only develop by selling labor. On the other hand, the monthly minimum wage of 1,500 ringgit set by the government cannot meet most of living needs. The minimum wage is unfair to higher skilled workers, especially graduates with a bachelor's degree or higher, because they are paid for the same as lower skilled workers. When people don't have more salaries, they have low purchasing power, which will lead to economic collapse. Finally, basic on the above discussion, I re-emphasize my point of view that the wages for workers and the workers should be determined by the free relationship of market and should not be reset by the government minimum wage, which is not friendly to employers and workers.
I, Nur Asyrani Hanis binti BAKAR, my matric number 275338. I do support this issue because there are many increasements on our daily expenses that really affected our financial. Looking on this increasement, I examine that due to the living expenses that uncontrolled by the situation, the employees that has minimal salary were the most affected when the price of the beverage, petrol, employees, utilities and others. I believe that the government should study more when this all cost of living increase but there is no increase on the salary of the employee, or we can hire it as a society. The cost keep increasing on the living, but there is no alternative way to taken by the government to solve or improve the fair pay system. I strongly view that this fair system should be lenient or in line with the living cost. However, cannot be denied that that person with unstable salary was being affected also. As a society, we are alert to paying a tax and so on, but the government does not really care or look at the satisfaction of the society satisfaction in their workplace. Yes, there is much demand and supply in this labour market, but the organisation always demand the highest qualification for employment and offer a bad amount of salary just because a reason that there are fresh graduate does not have any experience and to entitle that position with a good salary. This minimum wage is currently set at 1,200 per month in 57 cities and towns across Malaysia, and 1,100 in areas that does not consider city and town. Starting a minimum salary from 1,500 is one of the next steps that should be done, and or I can say that our Prime Minister already announced that the government will set the minimum salary from 1,500 as a legal action that should be take action by the private sectors. It shows that the government concern, which is the government willing to lead the organisation or company management to set up a minimum payment they have to set in their fair system for their employees. But the organisation still will pay the related tax to the government, and it will increase the satisfaction for all parties. The moral judgment that I have done is based on the complete, up-to-date and correct pieces of information, since I did do some information resource on the related issues and have been discussing on. Some of the information is up to date since this issue have been discussed more years, and there is any action from the government to set the minimum salary for employees in Malaysia. For information, this issue has been voiced out by the opposition political party from MP MOHD state that concern about the minimum salary of the employees. A year back, this issue has been highlighted by our Prime Minister and all the company's management. Especially private companies have to be alert of the starting salary of their employees and pay fair payments to the employees. Start from 1,500 for the permanent employees.
Hi, my name is AMANINA binti SUHAIMI. My matric number is 275506. I will present my part in moral judgment. I personally support that worker salary should be determined by the free market, not by the minimum salary in Malaysia. It is because the minimum salary does not do justice to most skilled workers because their wages are the same as those of the less skilled workers. The government minimum salary is still low, making it difficult to meet living expenses today. Besides, low wages lead to economic collapse when there is no more purchasing power among the people. Salary commensurate with work, experience and qualification should be guidelines of the salary scheme. Next, there is no government intervention in the free market force. Free market force require no enforcement mechanism. It ought to be clear that when wages are not entirely set in stone by the power of market interest, no excessive government implementation or administration component is required. In that sense, market composition is free since there are forced no administrative expenses on citizens. Moreover, salary levels are molded by the range of ability brought by the workers and the requirement of the business, as well as the area of the job advertised. Moral decision that can support my decision based on this issue is utilitarianism. Utilitarianism is action and policies that should be evaluated on the basis of the benefit and cost they will impose on society. Wages that are determined by the free market force cost more benefit than wage by minimum force. It can be concluded that wages determined by the free market are more productive and practical because they are more in favor of experienced workers. Not only that, wages determined by the free market can be changed progressively and do not require the implementation of government regulation. That's all from me. I hope you enjoy and like it.
My name is FARHANAH YASMIN binti ZAIDI. My matric number is 275669. I'm going to present my moral judgment from the report that have been done by my group. Based on the discussion above that my friend had discussed, I would like to support the workers' salaries, including the graduate salary, also the minimum wages, which determined by the free market, not by the government. Okay, I will argue from the business perspective. The reason why I oppose the government to determine fair play is because with the pandemic that we are facing right now, and also the unstable economy, with the minimum wages that was implemented by the government, and also that will be run on May 1st of 2022. It shows that the government is not very aware of the challenge that may face by the small and medium-sized enterprise in order that they have to face in order to survive. Businesses, specifically the manufacturers and small and medium-sized organization, which is the SMEs, they have protest that the increase in the Malaysia minimum wages is too early and it's too steep, that it would slow the economic recovery. And And also many business have yet to sufficiently recover from the epidemic to handle their expenses. Meanwhile, the employees' earning suffered throughout the pandemic, with the median payment declined by 13%, which is to 1,894 ringgit in 2020, which is from the 2,185 ringgit. As the result, the government anticipated a rise might help to stabilize salary in lower half of the pay range. Furthermore, Malaysia Central Bank have recommended a gradual increase in the minimum wages to avoid economic disruption. Furthermore, as mentioned in the Asian Briefing website, which is the Medina 2022, it can possibly be a political move. A critic of the government claimed that the planned minimum wage rises are motivated by the political consideration given by the Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob. The administration is set to face a general election at the end of 2022. The Malaysia minimum wages have become a political campaign issue in back 2018, when the Pakatan Harapan Party, led by the Mahathir Mohamad, planned to raise it to our minimum wages to 500 ringgit within its 5-year government term to attract working classes voters. However, the government only managed to raise the minimum of wages to 1,200 ringgit once in 2020, and only in 56 city and municipal government. The non-city and town minimum wages was established at 1,100 ringgit. So that is the reason why I make this moral judgment. That's all from me. Thank you.
In my humble opinion, the situation of the government to determine the workers' salaries is unjust. The minimum wage order 2022 introduced by the government of Malaysia is unjust, since it ignores the regional cost of living differences. By considering the BPMN report on living wage based in 2018, the salary for a single adult was around 2,700 ringgit Malaysia, and it is not comparable to the minimum wage set by the government, as 1,500 ringgit Malaysia is insufficient to support the living costs of a family. According to the survey results in the Graduate Choice Award 2022, majority of the fresh graduates expect a starting salary of 2,500 as a fair starting wage in the market. Hence, workers are likely to be paid higher than the minimum wage set by the government if there is a lot of demand in their field of work. The minimum salary is considered low as it is unable to cover the significant rise in the living expense, particularly in the city. The fair wage standard is morally wrong because it doesn't account for people with decent jobs by assuming everyone lives in the same conditions. It is also morally wrong to force the employers to follow government policy and bear the risk of being sued in an employment tribunal. In this issue, I put forward the claim that it is morally right for the workers, employers, and unions to determine the wages through free market forces in Malaysia. This can be related to utilitarianism, which holds the most ethical ethical choice to produce the greatest good for the greatest number of individuals. Therefore, the employees can benefit more to increase their salaries, as safeguarding the employees' rights is a humanitarian action. In this matter, the employers pay their workers based on their living expense and their profit. In short, the minimum wage and salary scales should be in accordance with the current market conditions. That's the employees' right, as they deserve to be paid with fair wage according to their productivity in their work. However, while benefiting employees, it should also consider the company's readiness to implement this policy. That's all from me. Thank you.